All right, welcome to another Wednesday in the life. You know, this week is National Procrastination Week, so I'll get to the intro later. Just kidding. In all seriousness, it is also Women in Construction Week, so a tip of the hard hat to all the women out there working in construction. We're glad to have you with us today. There's an increasing amount of home fires, and there are more jurisdictions across the country requiring fire protection systems in homes. It only makes sense to be on top of new technologies that address fire risk mitigation. Today, we're going to talk about new fire protection solutions that are non-toxic, environmentally friendly, and cost-effective, and also address one of the main points of resistance to fire sprinkler requirements, water damage. In this case, it's the lack of water damage. Yep, we'll get into that. We have two guests with us today. Ben Allen is the CEO of GreenFire. He's also an inventor, product designer, and certification expert. He has spent the past 7 years in the fire protection and service industry, but he has a whole host of experience in all facets of business, from management and operations to marketing to quality control. Our other guest is Jenny McGregor. She is the brand and product manager for FlowZone battery-powered sprayers. She joined the Wessel team a year and a half ago and brings a diverse background in digital marketing, graphic design, web design, e-commerce, and advertising. She now manages the day-to-day brand presence of FlowZone. Today's webinar is brought to you by GreenFire Technology by FSI. GreenFire Technology came out of a desire to provide something safe for those who put their lives on the line to protect us and our properties. They realized that in providing safe products for individuals to use, they would also be protecting our environment. GreenFire Technology is long overdue, and now they are able to bring it to the marketplace. They are proud to play a part in lowering cancer rates in emergency response personnel and in helping clean up the environment. Now, during the course of today's presentation, you can submit questions for our guests at any time. Simply use the questions box that's probably located on the right side of your screen. I'll review those questions and I'll give them to Ben and Jenny at the end of their presentations. Jenny, let's start with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. Like Mike said, I am a product manager for FlowZone, and we are a delivery system for the GreenFire. FlowZone is a brand that was founded by Wessel. Wessel was founded in North Carolina in 2011, and we began FlowZone back in 2015. As a battery-powered sprayer, we quickly captured several industries. Our most popular right now would be pest control, with more interest growing in turf and ornamental and lawn care. We are also present in construction industry, as well as sanitation and the cannabis industry. And of course, now we're moving into fire prevention as well. Wessel has warehouses in California and Kentucky, and we focus exclusively on battery-powered sprayers. So we don't do anything with those manual pump sprayers at all. And we believe in constant improvement based on customer feedback. So we own and operate our own factories in China where our products are created. So we are able to have greater quality control over our products and also source the materials directly ourselves. When designing the FlowZone backpacks, we wanted to make sure that everything was made from the highest grade materials, as a lot of the users for our backpacks do use them every single day in professional settings. So on each backpack, there will be diaphragm pumps, Viton seals, stainless steel wands, reinforced hoses, as well as brass connectors. And then on the inside of the sprayers, you will see that the pump is rated for 1,000 cycles. Our lithium-ion batteries are able to work for up to 3 hours continuously when spraying. And then any parts, electrical parts on the inside are epoxy sealed to make sure that they don't get wet when being operated. Recently, last year, probably around Q3, we launched FlowZone Series 2, which is an updated version of our first round of FlowZone sprayers. These are available in dual pressure and variable pressure, and these sprayers feature some design and ergonomic upgrades from our first line of sprayers. Starting with the dual pressure sprayers, these are probably our most popular model and will be the ones that will be the go-to for the GreenFire agent. It features that dual control switch that you see on the screen there. One will have a lower pressure setting, and then on the other side will have a higher pressure setting, so you know exactly how much is coming out at once. And our most popular model, the Typhoon, it will be 70 and 115. And then in the next most popular model, it will be 45 and 60 PSI. And then this is just a little close-up of the components on each sprayer that we've updated from last year. We have padded straps as well as padded back, a hose cap to prevent anything from getting into the tank, an ergonomic lid, a snap-in holster to make sure that wand stays in place as you're working, strap loops that wouldn't break, and then a sealed battery cover to make sure that no liquid is getting into the tank. So these are the models of our sprayers that are available in dual pressure, starting with the Typhoon and Cyclone, which are our 4-gallon models, and then the Storm will be a 2.5 gallon, and then the Monsoon is our largest at 9 gallons. Next, when it comes to our variable pressure models, on the outside, they will look exactly the same as our dual pressure models, but instead of that dual speed switch, they will have this pressure knob that allows you to dial from 8 PSI up until the highest range, whether it's 60 PSI or 115 PSI. And some benefits of the variable pressure models over the dual pressure models is that you can control your application a little bit more just because it has those in-between settings. And with the lower pressure, you're able to use more flow restrictive nozzles, as well as target smaller areas and perimeters. And again, using it on a lower pressure, it means that your battery can last even longer throughout the day. And then the variable pressure models are available in these 3 sizes, the 4-gallon Typhoon and Cyclone, and the 2.5 gallon Storm model. And that is a little synopsis of FlowZone.
All right, great. Thanks, Jenny. Next, I'm going to turn it over to Ben Allen to give us a little bit more information on GreenFire. Ben?
Hello, everyone. Just showing a little screen of our website here. This is entitled GoGreenFire.com. And I'll do like Jenny did and give you a little background on our company. Personally, I'm 17, going to 18 years industry participation with firefighters when it comes to fire engines, fire protection equipment, sprinklers, everything you can think of when it comes to fire protection. I've been in the service side of the industry for many years. And now as a company, many of my partners have many years experience as well. So as a company now, we have over 300 years combined industry experience. And that actually was instrumental in helping us come up with this idea. And now as Jenny introduced the backpack there, and we have this product GreenFire that can go into a lot of different applications. An easy use one is this backpack. It's with all the fires that keep going on across the country, every year they keep getting worse. We needed a quick solution application, basically, to get it out there to the masses. So that's one of the steps is through this backpack FlowZone. So we have, as a company, we got 2 locations in California where we make our product. We also have co-packers in Cincinnati, Ohio, as well as Atlanta, Georgia. We have some things very well established to meet the demand of potentially what's coming at us the rest of this year and from here on out. So what's the problem today that all of us keep seeing? Well, exposure to these chemicals and harsh things in our environment. And unfortunately, since the 50s, a lot of things have been happening that some we're just not aware of in our market. So people don't want the exposure to the harmful chemicals. We'll just say that flat out. But and insurance companies don't want to take the liability and risk. This industry that I'm part of and been dedicated with for quite some time, sometimes progress can be slow moving, to say the least. And that's just the way it is. So we've had to learn how to go through with certain agencies like UL, FM, NFPA, all of these governing authorities to help the situation. That's what's happening. So to give you a little idea, for the last few years, we've been working in the background on all this and not knowing that these products that are harming us and the environment and our firefighters is going to be banned. So let me switch screens here just for a quick second and share with you some of what I'm talking about. And I'm just going straight over to another site, and that way you can see here. This is Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry. And right on the front page, you can see public health, PFAS, protecting your health. And if we scroll down, you'll be able to see all this later too if you don't get to get all the information you want. PFAS and their health effects. And you see that on the left-hand side there. These man-made chemicals have been used in the industry since the 1950s, as it says there, including in some firefighting foams. So that's the leg of things that I address because we have so many problems going on in this field, in this area. But it's not just me talking that, it's published all over the place if you haven't seen it. More and more states are banning these toxic substances and so on. And so we emphasize as a company that it's less toxic is no longer an option. Non-toxic is what everybody needs. There's water contamination across the country and in other places around the world, landfill contamination from these PFASs, wildlife, etc. And the solution for some in the industry may be to make it less toxic. But as a company, we decided to make it non-toxic. So what's needed to do that? Well, the industry has to redevelop its products to meet that. And some are unwilling to do that because it costs money, frankly. Some may be willing to change, but it's going to take some time. But we decided to start from the ground up, literally from the ground up. We use ingredients that are completely safe around food, farming industry, and yet the product has to work. It has to perform properly, and that must be met. Next, it has to be accessible to people and professionals and the like. So we've been working with quite a few suppliers. One, Wessel, Flow Zone Company, they have their backpacks in a wide range across the world, and we're excited to have our product be dispensed out of their backpacks in many applications. That's one option. We're working with fire departments. Like I said before, we're already with UL. We have NSF International certification for the food industry. But people need better options now. And if any of you got the blog that was put on Green Builder's website, we're experiencing more and more serious situations in the fire industry than ever before. I came from the northern part of California. If any of you had saw in the news the Carr fire and the other ones in Northern California, I came from there originally. And so my family lives there. And so while those tornadoes were going on, which were fire tornadoes, quite honestly, I was worried about my family out there, my mom and dad. But these situations are getting worse every year. And at the time that stuff was happening there, we weren't completely ready to release this product. But now we are, and we're excited about that. Now many areas, their only option in protecting from fire is water in parts of the world because there's so many toxins that have been out there. Now that's just changed as we're introducing this to every one of you. When GreenFire is added to a water source, the only illustration I can think of to describe it, and as close as what I can think, is it's like the Hulk. If any of you have seen anything with the Marvel comics and all that, the Hulk. Our product, when sprayed on, it becomes big, angry, and powerful force against the fire. But it doesn't damage anything, and that's the best part. Later, it can simply be washed off with water outside your home, food areas, simply with soap and water. And I'm going to go over now to our screen here that shows a little bit about the home application. Give me just a second here. In fact, I'll go back to, oh, you know what, I'm sorry. This particular site that I'm showing now is called Omri, Organic Materials Research Institute, and this is for organic listing. Our product now, one of our blends actually will be approved for Omri here shortly. And we're very proud of that because it's very difficult to get that. It's like going into the grocery store and picking the organic fruits or vegetables. But that's basically what one of our blends we've been able to do and accomplish. And so we're very proud of that. Just touching on that briefly. Another thing here, let me switch pages. My apologies, I had this a minute ago. There we go. And this is home defense. This is our line here specifically with the home in mind. And as we scroll down, this container here that all of you can see on the screen, hopefully you can see it, it says can be used on house, structures, vehicles, anything on the property. No hazmat cleanup required, doesn't contaminate your waterways. This particular container, it goes perfectly with the backpack units that Jenny was talking about. We designed it with these particular containers in mind. But not only that, we can put our product into many different applications. Sprinklers is one other one. Fire extinguishers will be coming down the line. And if I go back to our website here real quick, I'm just going to briefly touch on some of these things that we're very, very excited, proud of. It's been a long time in the making. But here, as you can see on the screen, all these things need to be met in my industry. And quite frankly, if somebody else were to have made it, I would have bought it because it would have been a whole lot easier than making all this from scratch. However, it took time, it took, frankly, resources, but we finally have gotten to the end of it, and we're happy to present this. So let me just carry on here. Non-toxic, non-carcinogenic, non-corrosive, food safe, easy to clean up, eco-friendly, adheres to the surfaces and stays there no matter what the angle is, and the protection will not evaporate in a short period of time. All those particular things need to be met in the market, and frankly, all the products that I used in the past that I've purchased from other people just didn't meet all those things that I felt was needed. So we started from the ground up, and then we just scroll down here, more and more, our environments, everything around us affects us. If you're in contact with something, it's going to affect you eventually. And so we have a product line here, but in this case, there's some that are for the professional industry, but others can help the homeowner, like the spray bottle, this Pro Defense line, and the Home Defense line. But one of the other things as I scroll down here, in using this product in this industry, it does actually help tremendously. This particular picture I'm showing right now, I just want to say a little story very briefly. I've been in this industry long enough. I'm now at the age where friends of mine, their children have grown up, and some of them went into the fire service industry, some with CAL FIRE, some with U.S. Forest Service. And so I thought when we put this picture up on our website here, it kind of told a good little story, because honestly, whatever we do today will affect the children later that become firefighters. And so I personally have friends that their kids are firefighters today using all these toxic chemicals and stuff. And so that's about to change. And I'm very happy about that because, well, nobody had been working on it for a long time. And so we partnered with organizations at the bottom of our page here, NFPA, Firewise USA, NSF. We're working with UL and FM approvals right now, as well as several insurance companies that recognize the need and the importance of what we're doing. So not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but it's been a long time coming. And I'm going to go over to this webinar information, blog information for just a second. It was put out there on the Green Builder website. The magic is in the mix. That's just one thing that was shown here, and I really like it because it really is. It's retardants and chemicals in the marketplace. Now, not all of them have the PFASs and the PFOSs. I just want to make that clear. Not all products on the market are cancer causing, but there are many that are not good for the environment. And that's the thing that we've changed. All of our product lines are good for the environment, safe for people, safe around food use, etc. But when you look at this information that was published just recently on the Green Builder site, we're doing tests up to 45 to 8,500 degrees. Now it's posted here just 45, but we've gone higher. We're working with construction companies right now to help with the construction of buildings ahead of time, pre-treating the lumber, the fabrics that go on the carpet, whatever we can assist and help with. The fact of the matter is we made something that can work in a lot of different spectrums. We didn't know how far in reaching, and frankly, we don't know how far in reaching until we keep letting people know about what we did and doing more testing on what we can help with. In a nutshell, that's what we were trying to achieve, is just make the fire suppression industry safer, better. One other little thing I'll touch on in the very beginning of this blog that was published. It says here, imagine you own a home on the edge of a wildfire-prone hillside in California. While you're away on a trip, you could hit a button on your phone and activate your system to set it off and get notifications, etc. We are currently working with several insurance companies to be able to get the data back to these insurance companies as well as to the homeowner to let them know that you're potentially in a dangerous situation and be able to activate it, dispense it out without damaging everything that you have and even having to replace everything that you have. There's more things than just a product that puts out fire. There's so many other variables to it. And some have said, how do you sleep at night? Well, you have to get rest in order to do all the things that we're doing. But I'm just proud to say that we've partnered up with all the right people in our industry, and we got this done. And so we're going to continue to bring more things to the market that can help. We weren't interested in making a lot of money when we did this, but we were more concerned with just helping our families and our friends that have lost everything in fires. And so in a nutshell, I said it already, that's what we are all about as a company. That's what we are continuing to face and pursue and do, and hope to be talking with some of you in the near future, possibly. So that's what I have there to share with all of you.
Okay, great. Thank you, sir. And I want to put the call out to our audience to go ahead and send in your questions now. Just use that questions box again on the right side. I had a question for each of you. It's kind of a separate thing. First, I'll ask Jenny. Jenny, with the backpack product, can you talk a little bit about the refilling process? If let's say you have a bulk user, somebody who's going to maybe has a large property or, needs to use a lot of that product. Can you talk a little bit about the refilling process?
Yeah, we try to design the sprayer so that the refilling process is as seamless as possible. Every of the sprayers will refill on the top where you see the lid. You basically just unscrew the lid. There will be a filter that's already there, and then you just pour the solution in. When it comes to GreenFire, the 2.5 gallon size will perfectly fit our 2.5 gallon sprayer. With the 4 gallon sprayer, you'll just have to have a little bit left over or just use one container at a time. But you basically just set the sprayer down, unscrew it, and just go ahead and pour the solution in.
Okay, thank you. Ben, a question for you. You mentioned all the certifications that GreenFire has received. And I apologize if I missed it, but is it something that is allowed in the I codes, whether it be the fire, the building, or the residential code, or anything like that?
Yes, it is actually. It's funny in this industry, certain things require certification, other things don't, but we went to the other extent of things and said, well, when we first started designing and making our product, we were specific in mind with the firefighters, but then we quickly realized how this product can actually help homeowners, building codes, etc. So I'm trying to think if I should mention any names or not, but we're working with large organizations such as Viking Sprinklers, other codes industries, and so on and so forth, to make sure whatever it is we're applying it in, it meets the code. In fact, at this point in time, I'm proud to say we've exceeded the codes. Every time we've done testing and all these things, we're actually doing better in performance and safety-wise for all these different areas. And that's really important because, you know, you're allowed to go to a certain length according to the guidelines of the government. They say meet this minimum, but we've exceeded that and done better on every leg.
Okay, great. Jenny, we do have one question that came in from Alex. Wanted to know, you mentioned that you utilize factories in China. Are you experiencing any production disruptions right now?
Yes, so our factories are actually just went back to work, but we have some stock available here right now that we've gotten over here before all the production halted. But yeah, that was a little bit of an issue for a little bit, but it should be fixed now.
Okay, well, that's good. Good to hear. And obviously our thoughts go out to all the people who have been affected by the coronavirus around the world. It's been pretty widespread. So obviously it's a topic to talk about in a business sense, but also just in a more human sense too. So also have a question here from Dan for Ben. Dan wants to know, you mentioned the smartphone capabilities and the kind of the remote control, so to speak. What happens if the power goes out or if Wi-Fi goes down? You know, we're talking about disaster situations here, right? And emergency situations. Is there a battery backup?
Yes, there is. In fact, we've been working with a couple of different manufacturers, two different options that are going to be on the table here. One lithium-powered battery backup, and another is a relatively new technology of a type of battery pack that doesn't have potential to combust or have any problems in heat situations. So we did think about that ahead of time. It was one of my first thoughts when we started designing that was, hey, what happens if the power goes out?
Right. I mean, it's common to have that, and you mentioned earlier about your parents living up in Northern California, probably not too far from Paradise there, and the power probably went out there, didn't they?
Some of my partners actually live in Chico, which is just outside of Paradise. So all the disaster, everybody came over to the Chico area when that all happened, and we were all just, you know, we had a little bit of this. We were helping care for the victims of that and trying to finish up our product all at the same time, because we're like, this is just going to keep getting worse. So we need to hurry this up as fast as we can to present it to the market. Sure.
Yeah. I have a couple of friends in Chico. Cal State University Chico's there. So
yeah.
Good times there.
Yeah.
Couple more questions have come in. One from Randy. He wanted to know, can this product be used in barns? I mean, I could see it certainly being applicable. You're talking about hay, you're talking about animals in there. So can it be used in barns?
Yes, it could be used in barns. And really depends on, you know, I'd have to ask some more questions on that too, specifically around what the animals are. Is it where the hay is stored, you know, et cetera, et cetera. I would probably have to have a conversation with the person on that one to just get some more particulars. The one thing I want to make clear on the product is it's not harmful in itself. Basically, let's say your horse ate it, you know, it's sitting on the hay. Your horse just needs to drink some water and it'll pass right through them without hurting them. That's, you know, and maybe that's where the person was getting to on that. Hopefully I answered that. But there's quite a few different things that come into the picture there when you're asking. One recently, I give the example, someone asked about a chicken coop, and we had to just analyze that. And the reason they asked about a chicken coop is because they can't get insurance because it's just so dangerous and volatile on catching fire. You know, I didn't know that until we had the conversation. So we're actually helping them in a similar way as what it would be for a barn. Evaluate the whole situation and go, okay, this would be best case scenario for you.
Okay. And just a note to Randy, if you want to submit your email address through, I can pass that along to Ben and get the two of you connected for any further conversation that the two of you might want to have on that topic. A couple questions came in from Eric. He wanted to know, for the fire sprinkler system applications, what is the shelf life when a system is charged with GreenFire, and is this fire sprinkler system used at full strength?
And that's a nice question. So we have two different situations here. We can retrofit into an existing system, so nothing needs to be changed, and it just is dialed in. The viscosity of our product is as good as water and just slightly better, so it mixes in really nice and easily. And the other thing too, it works at a variety of different pressures. Right now we're one of the only products we are the only product in the fire industry that works so good on the pumps and engines, that it doesn't clog their equipment. They don't even have to wash it out afterwards. So some recent things that we've been able to find on sprinkler application is I can't get into the details about it because it's proprietary. Gotta be careful on that one. But our product, when it's in the line, it has a tendency to be an anti-corrosive measure for the lines mixed with the water. And we're now finding out, to some degree, it even kills certain algae and other things that could cause the lines to corrode. So that was an accident that happened, but it's a good accident. So.
Okay. And I did get the email from Randy, so I'll pass it along to you, Ben. I want to put out the final call for questions to our group, because we've got Ben and Jenny both on the line here. So final call for questions. I do have one more in the queue. It's from Ron. He wanted to know if the product needs to be protected from freezing.
So that's a good question too. So we're able to go down to 30 degrees, and it still be used at 30 degrees. We had to do that with UL testing, and we're good at that temperature. We're going to continue to work on going to colder temperatures, but the challenge here is in our industry, when you're going colder and colder, oftentimes you get more alkaline. And the alkalinity is what causes corrosion on a lot of products. And that was my experience in using another product before we designed our own, is it was so corrosive that it was eating through things. So temperature-wise, we've got that nailed, and at a 30-degree temp, usable. It can go lower than that and not bust the container, but specific with UL and FM, they want us to be usable at 30 degrees. At 32 degrees. We can go usable at 30 degrees, and if you go colder than that, down to zero, it'll be not a complete solid. It'll be more gel-like or jelly-like, and then you just have to warm it up, and it's fine. So we have an indefinite shelf life on our product too. Basically, the way we mix it, make it, all that. Is to such a degree that all you have to do is let it warm up a little bit in a certain environment, and it's good to go.
Okay, well, look, I certainly see where sprinkler systems in general are going to be preferred from insurance carriers, but one that doesn't also leave behind water damage, that would tend to be a bonus, I would think, from the eyes of the insurance industry. So. Very interesting stuff.
On that note, one of the things we did not address is we talked about retrofit of existing sprinkler systems, but one of the very first things that we designed was an independent system that would use only a certain amount of product premixed with our GreenFire. And let's use the example of a condo in Hawaii. They have a lot of them, and many of them are unprotected. So you could essentially put one of our systems inside that closet, a closet in there, say similar to the water heater or even smaller, and have your own independent system inside of a residence and control it all your own. So when it goes off, it only puts out so much product in the residence, putting out the fire, giving a retardant capability in there at the same time, and not damaging everything in the dwelling.
Okay, yeah, that's a great point to bring up about the retrofit, because there's many more existing homes and existing dwellings than there are new ones built on an annual basis. So being able to get to that market is going to be key as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions, so I want to certainly thank both Ben and Jenny for sharing their time and knowledge with us today. Thank you to the audience, too, for sending in your questions and having an interest in this topic. And thank you to GreenFire Technology by FSI for their generous sponsorship. We will see you back here in 15 days when we'll have a very familiar person on the program. It'll be Green Builder Media CEO, Sarah Gutterman. She'll be here to present on essential market trends to grow your business. We're going to be treated to a glimpse of the power of cognition, which is a new tool in the smart data field. Make sure you tune in on Thursday, March 19th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to get a glimpse into the future. Until next time, don't forget to set your clocks forward this Sunday. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.